individual. But both are equally important. But I think the media, if you see its development over the period, तो मैं यहाँ से शुरू करूँगा कि अल्लाह ताला ने भी अपना एक जो कन्वे करना था उसके लिए मीडिया रखा. कुरान पाक जो वही नाज़िल हुई, it's a form of the media, because you are conveyed, and when you are conveyed through someone, the important thing is what is being conveyed. It is conveyed purely, properly, and of course its content should not change. अब हमारे यहाँ जर्नलिज्म आपके सामने है, मोटिवेटेड जर्नलिज्म भी है, आपकी एक प्रॉपर रिपोर्टिंग जर्नलिज्म भी है, आपकी वो जर्नलिज्म भी है जो पेड जर्नलिज्म, सॉरी डोंट माइंड इट, और कुछ जर्नलिज्म ऐसी भी है जिसमें लोग इंडिपेंडेंटली सेल्फलेसली फाइट आउट करते हैं और दे मेक देयर नेम्स. वो नाम दुनिया में जाने जाते हैं, पाकिस्तान में भी जाने जाते हैं. लेकिन मैं एक चीज़ आपको ज़रूर अर्ज करूँगा कि once you decide something with full determination that you are honest in your profession and you have made up your mind to follow a certain path and that path is correct and there is no motivation in it, I assure you, you will lead to the proper path and God will also help you. So the first lesson is be honest, be honest, be honest, because that gives you strength. The strength is drawn, the inner self becomes more energized when you are fully convinced that what you are saying is the right. But don't get yourself convinced on a wrong side. Get convinced when you have the basic proofs, you have done the investigations, you know these are the substantive proofs which can stand the test of the court, it can stand the test of the public testimony. Then you say that yes, I can write, I can speak, and this is how, if you see the famous journalists in the world, that's what they follow. So this is my first, in fact, advice to you. When you move forward, draw your lines, which we call objectives. For example, if you have to do an investigative story, you have to first draw your objectives. What is the name of the subject? What do you suspect? What do you suspect that the subject has done? Your target. Once you have laid down, then work out how you're going to get this information. Mean source of information. That's very important. Is it hearsay? Is it authentic? Is it documented through official documentation? Or it is some friend source information? And when you say source, and let me tell you my experience being the director of FIA and have investigated a number of cases in my life, there are mostly sources are motivated, because especially those sources who are paid, because they divide their information into parts. They get the first part when you pay something. So this way you have to be very careful with the sources you deploy. But having said so, I'm not rejecting the sources, but it will up to your judgment as to who are you selecting the source to create a report, to create an investigative report. Now this is about what I have spoken about, the investigative journalism. Now journalism not only restricted to the criminal stories, but they are also tied with social justice, which is very important. And I think if I see in our country, जो social injustice है, वो सबसे ज़्यादा हमारी इस जेंडर को है, women elite को है. और इस पे मैंने इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे भी बोला है, मैं सेनेट में भी बोलता हूँ, आज भी बोल रहा हूँ कि अब देखिए पूरी आपकी जर्नलिज्म में लेस देन 5% हैं आपके जर्नलिस्ट जो कि फीमेल जर्नलिस्ट हैं. तो ये ज़्यादती नहीं है, ज़्यादती है. हम कहते हैं नहीं जी हमारी पॉपुलेशन जो है 51% है, बट व्हेन यू go to any department, even National Assembly, Senate, or any forum where you actually deal with the national issues, तो आपको थोड़ी सी नजर आएंगी। मैंने यही बात सेनेट में की। मैंने कहा आज जो विमेन डे जो मना रहे हैं आप, मेरा ख्याल विमेन डे ना मनाएं, आप सारे डे विमेन के लिए ही रखें, इसलिए कि यू हैव नॉट प्रोवाइडेड जस्टिस टू देम। मैंने कहा मुझे खुशी होती अगर आज जिस जगह हम बैठे हैं मुझे कम से कम आधी यहाँ पे फीमेल सेनेटर नजर आ रही होती, नेशनल असेंबली में आधी नजर आ रही होती। तो नाउ यू पीपल हैव टू सी कि वेयर इज द फेलियर, कहाँ पे है ऐसी चीज जो आपको आगे नहीं ले जा सके। मुझे ये भी खुशी होती है जब हम पढ़ते थे को एजुकेशन में, आई रिमेंबर इन कैंट पब्लिक कॉलेज वी हैड 2 or 3 girls with us. Now at least when I see co-education institutions, so there's a good number. So your number is increasing, but most of the girls who are educated, they get married at a certain age. So half of the manpower which is trained, female manpower, they get married. And then after the marriage, you know the complications and how the families are treated and how they move forward. But those who are determined that even after getting married, she is not going to give up her expertise, her education, and that's what we need. And let me tell you, whatever my study is there, no nation, I repeat, no nation can attain some kind of success to the desired level unless female force is actually participating fully. If you go to Europe, there is no quota system. There are so many females, so many males, unfortunately here. And that's where the struggle has to be started. And we should do it. And I think we are also discriminating our women elite because all the legislation which is made, the women are ignored. Now starting from here, for example, I would like to request the host, maybe you can pick few girls and draft a first journalist enactment for ladies. And I'll help you. And I promise you that I'll take that enactment to the parliament and I'll ensure it's passed. And what is important factor? When you do an enactment, that means you are actually confirming the rights on you, and then you are ensuring its implementation. हम ज़बानी बात करेंगे, चाय पिएंगे, चले जाएंगे. Oh, people will forget. But this forum will become meaningful when we decide that we have to move an enactment, a law, and let's say its preamble.
So this is a very nice session. We'll explain it.
I'll help you. I'll even send you my draft, which I'll make, which I can give you the outlines right now. If you can take some notes, take it like a class lecture, so it will be helpful to you. The preamble. The preamble is the protection for journalists or female journalists. Number one, their working place, what they have to do, what should there be right, and how should they be conducted. Second, the legislation of anywhere in the world, especially the developed countries, where journalists, female or male, there is no discrimination there. But you have to start from here because there is a discrimination there. So we can block this discrimination by in fact bringing enactment. Then you bring as to what are those fields which are to be covered. I have given you already investigative journalism, of course, your child protection, women protection, and all those, actually I should say, all those discriminations and brutalities which are exercised on the women. I'm sorry to say I have to take a suo moto every day because I head the Interior Ministry's standing committee, and of course it covers all the national security, police, rangers, FIA, etc. So having my domain, I do take. Zainab's case I took, and I'm glad and happy to inform you, I took it to the logical conclusions. And there are a number of cases where small girls, 3 to 4 years, who have been actually, I don't even want to mention what happened in Haveliya. So 4 or 5 days back, before proceeding to London, I had issued the orders. If that rapist, the criminal is not arrested, the SHO of that time will be in the FIR. So, because having some experience in the law enforcement, the local SHO, area officer, has the information, who's good, who's bad. So that's why I started. Yesterday you saw a 7 years boy again in Haripur. And daily, yeah, but whenever I open a newspaper in the morning or I hear TV, I have to take 2-3 notices almost every day. But why it is happening? Because of the non-implementation of your own law. Because mind it, in your journalism you see, it's not the severity of the law, but it is the certainty of law which matters, how it acts. आप चले जाइए यूरोप में गाड़ी गलत जगह खड़ी करें, आप हुआ गाड़ी के पास या ना हो, आपको 50 पाउंड पहुंच जाएंगे फाइन, और अगर नहीं देंगे मल्टीप्लाई करते करते वो 400-500 पाउंड का 2-2.5 महीने के बाद आपकी गाड़ी भाग ले जाएगी. So this is called implementations, and that's what we really want to have it implemented. अब जिस तरह हम गुजर रहे हैं अपने मुल्क से, जाहिर है कि हम अपने आप को उनके साथ डेवलप्ड कंट्री के साथ तो कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते. आपके मीडिया हाउसेस हैं, मैडम इज वर्किंग वन ऑफ द चैनल्स, दे हैव द डिफिकल्टीज, स्टाफ इज बीइंग शंटेड आउट, देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग. लेट्स होप कि अल्लाह मियां करे हमारी इकोनॉमी भी बेहतर हो जाए, बट जो हालात नज़र आ रहे हैं उसी में आपने गुजारा करना है. तो मैं ही समझता हूँ कि आपकी वो जर्नलिज्म जो इकोनॉमिक्स से तलक रखती है, there are investigative journalists who talk about the economy as to what is happening to the economy. Unfortunately, the kind of dent we had in this so-called war on terror, which actually we invited on us, and we took this trouble, I think foolishly I should say, because it was somebody else's war. You know what happened to Soviet Union and Afghanistan, how America crept inside and they wanted to settle their own score with USSR, and we were pulled in it. And still today we are suffering. And not only we're suffering morally, and how the culture of Kalashnikov and drug came to this country, and how you see even the school, colleges, girls are using this. I don't want to terrify the parents, but the statistics available is alarming. So, where is supply? Of course, the supply will be there if there is demand. So again, law is not being implemented properly. So those who are actually investigating, making the investigative stories, if they do 3, 4, 5 stories, and this kind of investigation, where they can actually identify those rings, those criminals, who for few pennies or few hundred rupees or few thousand rupees or few 100,000 rupees are actually destroying the fiber of our children. So this is also another part of your journalism. So you will have at least, what I say, you are, as a journalist, you are very much directly embedded with the society. And of course how the journalists and the politicians work, you know that by now. Is now media has actually emerged as a third stakeholder, not only in Pakistan, but worldwide. Now having social media now, another double-edged weapon is right in front of you. So the transformation of media is actually going by leaps and bounds. So it has become so omnipresent that if somebody thinks that he's doing something wrong and he will not be able to, nobody's going to expose him, so I'm sorry, the time is not there. This camera is your friend, it is your enemy, it is your spy, it is everything for you. So you have seen how the world has taken it up, and I say it's a spy master. Because if you see the features, perhaps if I tell you all what it can do, you'll all throw this phone down. But it has become our necessity as a phone. So,
sorry to cut you. We have a special course for them in this workshop that is called Mojo, that is mobile journalism. So they are pretty much aware of this.
okay, what I do when I finish my remarks, you can ask me questions. And we suffered the most during this war on terror. And especially, we lost the journalists and we lost our economy. We lost our infrastructure and the way we were treated, and the same remnants are coming on the western border and eastern border. You had seen most recently what Modi did to us. Did Pulwama himself actually blamed us, and I'm happy to tell all of you, I took him on within 4 hours, with the proofs that it's you, Mr. Modi, not Pakistan, with the substantive evidence. It was a totally replica of Samjhota Express, if you have read it. And what I did was that I decided to expose India fully. So I've written a book which is going to be launched on the 2nd of April. And that is actually, I've given the name Modi's War Doctrine. Basically, war syndrome, anti-Pakistan war syndrome, which is with the RSS. RSS is one of the organization, you know, it's a terrorist organization. And it is for the first time in the world that a head of state is actual listed and certified member of a terrorist organization, which is RSS. And when we talk of terrorism and freedom of speech, I think we perhaps feel much better. I was told by a very senior journalist from India that now they cannot print anything, a single word against Prime Minister Modi. Because if they print, the media house is burnt. And the journalists disappeared. So this is what is going on in India. The brutalities in Kashmir are not hidden. I think time should come and we should all advocate for the trial of Prime Minister Modi under war crimes. If you have mass graves, you have pelleting, you have everything which should have not been done, 15,000 rapes, and so many widows. Who has done? Prime Minister Modi, with 750,000 armed, fully armed Indian army. So these are also being actually exposed. And you know, few journalists have given their lives in Kashmir also. I would like to pay the highest tribute to those journalists who are working in Kashmir and still they are reporting. I also appreciate those journalists in India against all this aggression and fears. They are still reporting. And I think you will be also one of them one day when you will stand and say, no, wrong is wrong and the right is right. And I think that should be the motto of the journalist, that we are here to prove right is right and wrong is wrong. And when you will work on that, I assure you, you will be all stars. You will emerge in the world, in the real history. And I think the way the world is progressing, I see media playing even much more important roles than even the states. Because state always come later to inform you. Media is there to inform you much more earlier. And if this story is really true, it is something very good. I opted journalism much before even coming into politics. I was the chief editor of my statistical society from Karachi University and did my MSc, then MPhil and then PhD. So I have been writing. So when I started writing, so I write 2 articles a week, one for Nation and one for News, and of course the international papers also. So people said, "Ye pulsiyon ko to kya hota hai? Aapne kaise shuru kar diya? Pulsi wale dande pe log kaam karte." But anyway, I think if you struggle, think, transform in a way that you come with the facts, I think God is always there to help you out. Now coming on to back to the situation of our country, which we have suffered at present, we are being targeted by the world. And there are three important factors where Pakistan is being battled. One is FATF. जो वो FATF जो है, basically it was engineered by Prime Minister Modi against us, labeling as, terrorist financing. I have moved myself as the chairman of the Standing Committee Interior with substantive evidence proving, number one, India is itself a terrorist financing country. And the best proof is Yadav. He came in this country, he did terrorism, so of course he used money. Where did he get the money from? From India. And I've given the proofs. How the money came via Iran, how he entered this country, how he got a forged passport. So, number one. Number two, Prime Minister Modi's own friends, actually one of the closest aide of Modi, he did money laundering, rather stealing from a bank of more than $650 million. And I happened to investigate it myself. So all those proofs have also been given to FATF. Then he's also protecting the international fugitive. International fugitive is the one who is declared a proclaimed offender by the Interpol. So all these things, I sent the proofs to the FATF with, as in your language, a fully investigated journalist point of view, criminal point of view, and a political point of view. And you know what reply comes to me from the president of FATF, and see the dishonesty on their part. He says, our job is not to investigate, but we are making a policy. So therefore, we acknowledge your all these substantive proofs, but we will not be able to do the investigation. Then I wrote the second letter. I said, then by this, if you're following this principle, under what authority did you investigate us, putting us in the grey list? So either you take us out of the grey list or put India also into the investigation. And that's when the discussion is going on. I just spoke to the Foreign Affairs. I said, I will be ready to go myself on my own expenditures, and I will fight the case. I will prosecute India myself based on what I have investigated. So these are the things which we are passing through. Then India has own narrative. They have reserved a lot of money with the journalists abroad, sorry to say, with the embassies, whereas we have failed to give our narrative as to what we have done. Isn't it कि कितनी बदकिस्मती है कि हमने 70,000 लोग शहीद कराया, 10,000 के करीब फौज, 60,000 के करीब हमारे इनोसेंट सिविलियन हैं। और जब बात आती है किसी फेवर की या फेवरेटेशन करने की, तो we are put into trouble. We are still suspected as a terrorist. And those who were declared terrorists, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जो है, आपकी इतला के लिए, ये टॉप 10 टेररिस्ट में आता है अगर आप गूगल में टाइप करें. America had banned his visit to USA, and when he became the prime minister, he became the darling of West, and he being a darling of the West, he's being used against Pakistan. और ये FATF, ये जितनी हमारे खिलाफ नेगेटिविटी आती है, actually it is originated from India, and no less than the Prime Minister himself. So मैं थोड़ी छोटी चीज़ों पे आपको मैंने, I've just given you the outlines, but what I in the end say, you have a noble profession, a difficult profession, and I'm sure your parents will be also proud of you, because many will you be seen like anchors, writing good articles, and of course future is yours, and of course perhaps many of you I'll find maybe as an old man at quite a time sitting in the Senate, in the National Assembly, because Allah Kala likhi hoti hai. I come from a very middle background, from a village. I never thought that I'll rise to this level, but I kept on working. I had one motto that I have to work hard, and God did provide me opportunities, and I'm standing in front of you. So please, never consider, again I'm saying, if you are from middle class or from lower middle class, make it a strength. And strength comes only when you draw the strength from inside. Never get complexed if you want to rise in the world. The complex is a negative energy. And when negative energy comes in your mind, in your heart, then you start getting depressed. And when you start getting depressed, then the success chances are reduced because your mind stops working almost 50% when you're depressed. Be happy, be smiling, be hardworking, and devote your time what you're doing today. Thank you very much. I'm here.